What's going on, everyone? Alex here, and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Cheers to Gear, we are talking about the Canon R5C. Don't mind me, I'm having to shovel the driveway, but I figured I'd do a video at the same time. So, like I said, we're talking about the Canon R5C, my thoughts on it in this episode of Cheers to Gear. So, yeah, the R5C, guys, just came out of nowhere. I mean, it was rumored for quite a while. And, you know, with the rumors of the R5C, I just thought it was just gonna be another, like, 1DC, you know, just a DSLR or mirrorless in this instance, and just had the same menus as the R5, and that's it. But I was pleasantly surprised that it had dedicated switches for photo and video. And the photo side, the menus are that of like a stills camera, like on the R5, R6, and R and all that. And then when you go into video, it has the menu system of a cinema camera.
Shut up! Yep. Shut it!
Mind blown. I mean, as a hybrid shooter, and I'm sure you guys are hybrid shooters as well, we're all looking for that camera that can do it all, you know, photos and video, and do it really well. So the R5C is very, very tempting in that aspect, that it's like, do I sell off my Pocket 4K and R5 and get an R5C and just rock one camera body? I don't know. I'll have more of that in just a little bit, but I really do got to get to work on this driveway. It's really, really bad. That driveway is a tough cookie. It's probably, is this all blown out? I wonder. Let's see. Oh, that's right, I can't check my waveform or histogram. R5C would be able to do that, so. That driveway, it's murder. But I will see it through. I will get it done, just like this video. Which, by the way, the R5C, the disadvantages of the R5C, in my opinion, the lack of IBIS. They completely removed it from the camera, which is kind of a bummer because I'm a big fan of IBIS, especially with the R5. I've grown accustomed to it, and it's come in clutch a couple times, you know, especially with photos and video. So them removing it is kind of a bummer, but I get it, because as a cinematographer myself, like the Pocket 4K, I don't want the sensor floating around doing its own thing. I want full control of it. So completely understand why they decided to take it out of the R5C. But still, I would have rather had a option to just disable IBIS and just that'd be the end of it. But you know, you can't win everything, you know? Can't get what you want all the time.
This is the way the world works! Why?
The other con of the R5C is the autofocus. I know, and you guys are probably thinking like, well, it's got Canon's amazing autofocus, which it does. It does. Now, on the photo side of the camera, you get the amazing autofocus features that you find in the R5 and R6. That includes the eye detect autofocus, animal eye detect autofocus, and now the newly announced vehicle tracking autofocus. And when you jump into the video side of the R5C, you get the same autofocus from the C70. That's not to say the C70 autofocus is bad by any means, but you don't get eye detect. That's on the cinema cameras, they haven't introduced eye detect into the autofocus system, and that's really mind-blowing, because eye detect is so awesome. It's so good. It's on my eye right now. I'm confident knowing that I'm in focus right now. But alas, when you're in video mode on the R5C, it's just the standard face detect autofocus. But again, here's a pro to that. It is the same autofocus from the cinema line. So as you see me right now, my eye detect is going. I'm in focus. And now when I step out, well, just jump to the background. But when I come back in, it should find me, and it does. It finds me pretty quick. But with the C70 and with the R5C in this instance, when you step outside of the frame just stays put. It doesn't hunt the background, doesn't do any of that. So that's definitely a plus on the R5C autofocus on the video side. But you know, you gotta take what you can And in this instance, I guess it could be worse. Now that I have successfully shoveled the driveway, it is time to finish this video. The Canon R5C. How about some pros of this camera? Well, first off, big pro, doesn't overheat. As you guys have seen, has the exhaust vent in it, so cools the camera down amazingly. So you can shoot 8K RAW up to, I think, 30 frames per second without any sort of additional power, but you can also record 8K 60 frames per second in RAW. But here's a little kicker to that. You lose autofocus in the camera if you're just running off of internal batteries, autofocus and lens stabilization. I think any sort of connection of the lens to the camera, you kind of lose that. But cool thing is that Canon said just attach like a power brick to it, something that can actually power it, run it, and you get all those features back. 8K RAW, 60 frames per second. That is amazing. Another pro to the camera is that you can shoot in all the other modes, 4K 60, 4K 24, I think even 1080p, and it downsamples that 8K image into those modes. So you basically get what the 4K HQ mode is on the R5. You get that in all the modes, all the modes, except for 4K 120. It's just not gonna have that downsampled image. But that's something I think most people can live with, because the 4K 120 out of this camera, and it's the same in the R5C, it's amazing, it looks fantastic. But having the 4K HQ mode in all the other modes in the R5C, that is a plus, that is huge. You know, especially for 1080p. Like in the video I stated, a couple video ago, I'll link it right up here, the R5, I've been shooting a lot of 1080p, and it looks great. It's pretty dang sharp. So, especially if you just add a little touch of sharpening to it, you just can't tell. You can't tell. So, those are some amazing pros to the R5C. But will I be getting the R5C? No, I will not be getting the R5C. I'm very, very happy with my R5, and the fact that it has IBIS is very important to me. It's become very important to me because when I'm taking stills, I can shoot 1/15 of a second on the R5, and the images come out tack sharp. It's game changing for me. And then for video, the IBIS has become amazing. When you go super wide, not so amazing, but I don't generally go super wide on this camera. So yeah, the R5C it's an interesting camera. It's definitely out of left field for Canon, in my opinion. I mean, they generally don't put it all into one camera and say, here you go. But they kind of did. So in that instance, I raise my glass to Canon on the Canon R5C. Cheers. Well guys, that does it for me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you aren't already. Tap that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Till next time, shoot to create.